But the sad thing is, even though helping so many women from around the world and actually being part of these victories is so rewarding, this video, this whole movement, almost never happened. You see, on that fateful day when I hit the floor, I was experiencing a deadly storm of hormonal dysfunction that nearly stole everything I had. As blood tests would later reveal, my insulin levels were at rock bottom from the last 2 weeks of low-carb dieting, and my estrogen levels were through the roof. As it turns out, fat cells, which I had a lot of, have a knack for not only producing more estrogen, but grasping onto it and letting it fester inside your body as well. But in the end, the doctor said what actually pushed me over the edge was the reflection of the obese woman staring back at me in the mirror that morning. You see, my stress hormone, cortisol, was already at a deadly boiling point from the constant worrying, excess cardio, stress, and lack of sleep. However, it was the image of myself, whom I barely recognized, who I was so ashamed of, that rocketed my blood pressure through the roof, causing what the doctor called a pulmonary embolism. Combined with the off-the-charts insulin and estrogen that so many of us are suffering from without even knowing it, it's so scary to think that we are all just one stressful experience away from a mini stroke like mine, or a heart attack, or a seizure, or even worse. Looking back, I'm actually one of the lucky ones, because it's no wonder that one of us dies every 20 seconds from disease tied to our weight. And that day, I was especially lucky my husband managed to get me to the hospital in record time. Hours later, I woke up like it was any other day, tired, achy, and hungry. The only difference was, I was in a hospital bed attached to a heart monitor with tubes running in and out of me. Even worse, that big old bum of mine couldn't even break my fall, because as I'd find out later, I had 2 bruised vertebrae in my lower back. Then, with my eyes barely open, I could see my husband and the doctor talking by my feet, still thinking I was asleep. And really, because we had been so distant with each other lately, it was no surprise that my husband didn't notice that I had woken up.
"You're lucky she's here,"
said the doctor. I listened to the new list of medications I was getting along with a medically prescribed weight loss plan, consisting of the same old low carb, low fun, lots of exercise rules and regulations. Yay for me.
"But sir, I'm going to be extremely blunt with you here,"
whispered the doctor.
"For your family's sake, please get your wife's affairs in order because she's literally only a couple of pounds or months away from, well, I don't have to tell you."
The beeps on the heart monitor began to increase.
"The truth is, her growing resistance to insulin has damaged her ability to manage blood sugar levels. The stress of all this combined with the excess weight is now forcing her body to pump out ridiculous amounts of estrogen and cortisol. So at this point, I don't know what we need to worry about more. Cancer, diabetes, or a heart attack."
My heart monitor began to race. Finally, my husband looked over and realized I was awake. To my shock, I realized that tears were streaming down his face. For the first time ever in my life, I saw my husband cry. He had watched me struggle with my weight for years, but it was the threat of losing me while becoming a single, widowing father that pushed him over the edge. Then, wiping away the tears with one hand while clutching mine with the other, he revealed a look of calm determination on his face. As his grip grew tighter, he looked into my eyes and whispered in my ear,
This all ends today. You will be there to watch me walk our daughter down the aisle one day, and you're going to look just as gorgeous as the day I met you."
The heart monitor slowed.
"You and I both know that this extra weight, the hypertension, all this is not your fault, and I think we both know how I'm going to get my wife back."
That was the moment everything changed. You see, it was only 3 weeks before landing my broken butt in the hospital that I read a press release issued by the World Health Organization, naming Japan as the healthiest country on the planet. It turns out Japan has ranked top 5 for the last 50 years. That alone got my attention, but what really took my breath away were the statistics that backed up these claims from the world's most respected health authority. Get this, Japanese women live to an astonishing average age of 87 years old, a record number that has continued to climb since the 1960s. That's over 10 years longer than we get to live here. 10 years! Can you imagine getting an extra decade on this planet with your loved ones? Not only this, but the Japanese were also named the most disease-resistant and happiest country as well. These women had uncommonly low rates of dementia, depression, heart attacks, and strokes. So not only were they living longer, but for the last half century, their quality of life was dominating ours as well. As I'd later find out, the Japanese had made one simple alteration to their eating habits 62 years ago. And it was this subtle yet profound adjustment that supercharged their immune systems with the unique hormonal synergy needed to produce warrior antibodies that actually fought tooth and nail against disease and obesity. Here, most of us are so sick already without even knowing it, that our bodies willingly invite disease to set up shop, suffocating, dismantling, and killing the ability to fight at all. Finally, I had to raise an eyebrow when I read this next part. The study revealed that Japanese women on average are 42 pounds lighter than American women. That's right. While our obesity rate dominated 75% of our population last year, Japan's obesity rate remained almost non-existent. How could that be? How could one country be the most disease-resistant, longest living, happiest, and skinniest country all at once? And don't worry, I was just as shocked as you are right now when I saw these numbers. Naturally, like you, I wanted to find out why, but more importantly, how. But there was one problem. As I scrolled down my phone for the answer, the article simply ended. It was over, just statistics, and no reason why, or even a hint of how-to information. What? Take a second to picture yourself at the theater watching the best movie of your entire life, knuckles deep in the most delicious bag of popcorn ever. Then imagine the power goes out and someone steals your popcorn. It was like that, kind of. Anyway, I knew the solution had to be hiding somewhere, and to be honest, I prayed selfishly the answer had nothing to do with Japan's climate or unique DNA, because I wasn't about to move to Japan, and I definitely wasn't Japanese. I was desperate to uncover the reason these women were living such long, ultra-healthy, happy, and almost superhuman lives. And not just for myself, but for the millions of weight loss resistant women here in North America who are grasping at straws trying to get their old life back just like I was. Now, before I go any further and reveal exactly how these women live longer, healthier, more slender, and happy lives, I have a guilty confession to make. Maybe you know what it's like to sit on the edge of your bed and pray for a miracle, just to take the weight away like I used to do. And if that's the case, I'm betting those prayers have gone unanswered. Well, so did mine. The truth is, I had secretly opened a bank account to save up for liposuction surgery in an attempt to answer my own prayers.